Well, hello, everyone. It's 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My name is Longevity John, and I am your host once again for yet another fantastic live broadcast for the Duncan Showroom, nestled in wonderful downtown Duncan. Yes, this is us. We've been at it for a long time, long before this pandemic got here. And along the way, Jeff Plankenhorn got a chance to play here and see just how much fun we have and what we're all about. So what he did was dedicate almost the whole month of May and part of April as well, where he came in and has done some shows to help raise awareness to all those people that are watching today about the need to keep this venue open. So we'll be asking you throughout the time whether or not you want to make a donation into our tip jar, of which Dr. Ted Cadillac will put on the bottom. But nonetheless, Jeff Plankenhorn, I ran into him quite by mistake, and I'm ever glad I did, and to the point of the 39 days of July. Now, not many of you are going to, 39 days of July?
Wait a second.
What's going on here? Well, we devised this festival 9 years ago, where it starts on the long weekend of July through to the long weekend of August. And usually that's 39 days, except for this year. But we're going to still do a full 39 days. And on July 1st, that'll be Canada Day. That's when we celebrate who we are, and as Canadians. Jeff will be here playing the final show just before. You won't be the final show. You'll be the show before Andrea Smith Trio and the David Go-Go Band. Now, the neat thing about that is I've already posted that, and we've already got great responses from it. What? The Plank's going to be playing the showroom again? Far out.
Oh, I love that.
So we're feeling really cool about it. Right now, he's going to give you up some music. He says he's got a promise of 2 new songs, which I heard part of it, and I'm going, wow, we're in for a treat. Again, give this guy a big warm welcome from where you were sitting. Take it away, Jeff.
Thank you. Maybe I'll just start with that new song, just since you have a level of excitement. It's filled the room. I wrote this song with my friend Scrappy Judd Newcomb, and I'm going to put it out on my Patreon page this month for all of my subscribers who like the exclusive content. But I'm going to give it exclusively to y'all as well, because I think people kind of need a pick-me-up. I have a lot of friends on the East Coast. I have friends in New Orleans. I have friends in lots of places around the world, and a lot of them could use a little pick-me-up, a little bit tired of the vitriol, a little bit tired of the games that are being played as far as just... yeah, people fighting about dumb stuff. And thankfully, here in lovely Vancouver Island, I haven't had to worry about that too much. But for all my friends who are having tough times, this is a brand new song that Scrappy and I wrote, and it's called Lift Me Up. Lift me up, don't put me down. I need to dust myself off and rise from the cold, cold ground. Don't you think that we could use a little good news this time? Oh, I'm taking back reality, 'cause I don't want to live in the church of the poison mind. Say you don't know what you've got till it's gone. That's what they say, right? We've known from the get-go what we had all along. So darling, put your hand in mine. Oh, we're gonna paint this town outside the lines. It's not there, we're too defined. They're still selling, but we're not buying. Lift me up, don't put me down. I need to dust myself off and rise from the cold, cold ground. Now don't you think we could use a little good news this time? Oh, I'm taking back 'cause I don't want to live in the church of the poison mind. Lord, I'm plumb out of patience for all of the backstabbing and half-stepping. There's a better use of time, and I know it's not reliving or regretting. But darling, put your hand in mine. Oh, we're gonna paint this town outside the lines. It's not there, we're too defined. They're still selling, but we're not buying. Oh, now lift me up, don't put me down. I need to dust myself off and arise from the cold, cold ground. Don't you think we could use a little good news this time? Oh, I'm taking back reality, 'cause I don't want to live in the church of the poison mind. Oh, yeah. Darling, put your hand in mine. Oh, we're gonna paint this town outside the lines. It's not there, we're too defined. They're still selling, but we're not buying. I said now, won't you lift me up? Don't put me down. Lift me up, 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 come on now. Lift me up, don't put me down. Lift me up, yeah. And that's how it goes. Brand new song. Thanks very much. That's called Lift Me Up, like I said. Just trying to. I think we all could use a little good news from time to time. See people looking out for each other. And that's what I'm talking about. Thank you so much for having me here at the Duncan Showroom. In my limited amount of time that I have been playing this venue, I have grown to love it very much. And I have a lot of fun coming here. And if you have the funds available and you feel like making a small or generous donation, it's an easy thing to do. A musician like myself, knowing that this venue is important to the local community, to fostering young minds playing music, and keeping old farts like me on stage too. And it means a lot to have the kind of place where maybe you might hear some spoken word, maybe you might hear some rock and roll, maybe you might hear some reggae. It's all fair game in a place like the Duncan Showroom. And that just means the world to me. And when I'm feeling grateful, which I am today, I often like to play this song that was from my Soul Slide album, written by the great writer Jeff Barry. I don't do a lot of covers, but I'm thinking of it right now, so I'm going to do this one right now. It came at a time in my life when I was joking with a lot of my friends about how I didn't want to be a singer-songwriter anymore. And the point was, people would pay $20, $25 to come see a show, and then I'd get up on stage and I'd just whine about my problems. And I didn't want to do that anymore because things were going better. I had gotten my life turned around, and I had gotten married, and I'd started a successful solo career at the ripe age of 43, which to me is astounding and means a lot that I can do that. I'm grateful for anybody who ever comes to a show and spends their hard-earned money listening to me play. And I just didn't want to write those tortured songs anymore. I mean, I've got them. They're just an album or two back, you know. They're there if you want that. But I found this song, and well, I think you'll get the idea. Things have been going wrong long enough to know everything is right. I've been walking in the dark long enough to know I've finally seen the light. I've been losing long enough to know when I finally won. And even the blind man can tell when he's walking in the sun. I've cried enough tears to know there's feeling called a smile. I've been bottom rung long enough to know when I'm doing it in style. I've been running long enough to know there's no more need to run. Lord, and even the blind man can tell when he's walking in the sun. Sailing on a ship that's overdue, and I've blown so many chances that I ain't gonna blow this one with you. Oh, and I've seen enough bad times to know the good times have begun. can tell when he's walking in the sun. And even the blind man can tell when he's walking in the sun. Well, I've been driving, I've been riding, I've been beating the pavement, Oakland to New Orleans. I've been biting, I've been hiding the nails off my fingers, trying to figure out what it means. But the road's been good to me. Oh, you know I can't complain. Yes, the road is all I know. Without it, I wouldn't be the same. But as I roll on down, flying, defying, my heart stays the same. If I don't get home before the sun, girl, it'd be a crying shame. With this heart, it is a pity when you get what you ask, and it wasn't what you wanted all along. You wake up and you shake up and you come to find you've been going about it all wrong. But the road's been good to me. Lord, it's been my teacher and my friend. Yes, the road is all I know. Right now, I won't see you again, but it's a long, long way from TX to BC, and I'm counting every single mile. I'm gonna get back to you been good to me, and I haven't been on it in the longest period of time in my life. We're only about 2 hours from Campbell River here, the little journey that I make down once a week. And it's, well, I wouldn't exactly call that the road. It's,
Well, just a question here.
Yes, sir.
Jeff,
Yes, sir.
how many shows do you normally do in a year?
oh, geez. You know, I'd say anywhere from 150 to 200. I play a lot, depending. When I was a side person, it was easily 200 and more. And I slowed it down a little bit when I started doing my own thing. But luckily, part of that also is in Austin, Texas, where I reside, for used to be more of the year, and now it's being more of the year up here, especially with what's going on and stuff. But we're kind of like, you know, living in both, of course. Home base is more here right now. There's so many regular gigs in Austin that you can go play pretty much any night of the week if you really want to. And you kind of have to balance it out, John, because, you know, if we have a saying in Austin, you know, if you go play 6th Street for free on Tuesday night, then nobody's going to want to come see your show for $20 on Saturday.
Point.
And it's a good point. And you have to be careful because it's like you'll have a residency where you make decent money and where you can really like hone the skills of your band in front of an audience that loves to hear you try stuff, you know. And it can be a mixed blessing because then you go out on the road and you kind of think you can have that same attitude of, hey, I'm just going to try something tonight. And, you know, let's say you go to, I don't know, Nashville or New York or Toronto or Montreal, and you play, and the people in the audience are like, what are they doing? They're rehearsing up there, you know? And it's like, hey, man, I paid $20 to come see you. You don't get up on stage and rehearse and ask your band what song you're going to play next. But in Austin...
Personally, I kind of look forward to those nights.
Well, you know, and that's the thing, is like you have to know your audience and you know your crowd. And we're also blessed in Austin with a particular number of places that don't have necessarily the ambience or the ducks in a row that this place might have, to coin a phrase, but they do have listening rooms, and Austin audiences are somewhat trained. If you go to the Spoke, you're going to go there in two-step. If you go to, that's the Broken Spoke. If you go to the Saxon Pub, most likely people will be talking, but they're going to be talking in the back by the bar, you know? And then if you go to other places like big clubs and stuff, then yeah, you can rock out and you can play. People are really in tune with the different vibes for different shows. If you go to the Cactus Cafe, then you can hear a pin drop. And different things will even change on different nights. And I kind of take that wherever I go, and I wouldn't say I try to train audiences, you know? But I mean, I came right here, and this was one of those places that already had like an understanding audience. You guys had already worked to, they know, it's like, yeah, well, we didn't come here to like, you know, well, insert something other than listen to music.
We have signs all around the club that sort of make people be aware that you know, it's about the performer, not about them.
Sure.
Now, one of the things, though, I'm sure in all the musicians that I know, and I stay in touch with a lot of them on the road still,
Yes, sir.
that aren't on the road anymore. So financially, it's been a big hit. But the other part is, and not to get all the spiritual and all that, or a little bit
No,
way
we can
out
go there.
but
I'm with you.
it's a lifestyle. There's something about being on the road and entertaining and doing it 150, 200 nights a year, that all of a sudden, when that disappears, I know in our 39 days of July, the day after it's over, we go, oh yeah, it's finished. Yeah, well, our lifestyle's got to change again.
Sure, you breathe
And when you
of
back
relief,
off from
but,
that
yeah.
not only the excitement, but there is an exciting thing. There's an adrenaline rush that comes from every time you get on stage.
Yeah.
And that must be the hardest part to be missing. I know the finances, of course, but those will always be fixed somehow.
Yeah, and there's ups and downs. If you join the music business to make money, it's a rare person that makes it to that level. If you'll be okay. Like I've always felt like.
Well, so will a lot of other people along the way with you.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Exactly. Missing the connection with the audience and doing something that makes people feel, not necessarily feel good, but makes them feel or makes them think or makes them feel part of something. Yeah, you definitely. I think I may have joked one of the weeks that I was here about when we first got here, we crossed the border and we had to self-quarantine for 14 days before we would start doing the shelter at home and social distance thing. So we were in our little one-bedroom basement apartment, and, you know, I caught myself, like, telling too many jokes to my wife, and she was like, baby, it's like, are not enough people clapping for you? You know, and it was just like she knows how to kind of, what's the word, like humble me, you know, and get a good laugh at the same time. And it was like, yeah, that must be it, you know. I haven't been on stage in 2 weeks, and that's a really, really strange thing for me. And I come from the school that, like, the feeling that somebody gets out there in the audience when they're at a show and they really, really love it, that's almost exactly the feeling I get when I'm on stage. It's really, 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 really close. Like, I've been at festivals and felt like, wow, I am right there with the band. And then I've been playing festivals where I'm like, I am right there with the audience. And I'm telling you, John, it's almost the same feeling. And that teaches me a lot about the connection of music, you know, if you want to get spiritual.
Always to some degree.
Yeah.
Can't deny it.
Anyway, well.
What else you got for us?
I got more music.
Oh, I'll listen to some of that.
Go figure. You know what? I'm going to play something. I don't know if I've played this for you guys yet. I've done the Texas Ambassador thing a couple of times for you and played some music. Let me think of something from Texas to play, because I enjoy doing that. And we've talked about how we're familiar with Townes Van Zandt here, and we're familiar with Guy Clark, and we're probably fairly familiar with, like, Patty Griffin. I always like playing Patty's songs. Maybe, and I played some Uncle Walt's band before, which was really cool.
How did Hoyt Axton ever have an impact on you?
Not so much directly. Not so much like learning tunes and stuff, but absolutely indirectly and through so many other things. There's a lot of cats like Hoyt Axton and Ray Price and really, really great stuff that kind of went through me and then into other players and then into the people that I played with. And sometimes I would shy away from learning those tunes because I felt like you've only got so much brain space, and I really wanted to keep it to, like, people that I played with and people that I knew. And or people who really, really directly influenced me like that. And but it's definitely there. I'm gonna play you a cool old Willis Allen Ramsey tune. I think I've done a couple of his in here before. But if you don't know the history of Willis Allen Ramsey, he made one album in 1973, and he's lived off it ever since. And because so many people have recorded the great songs on the album. And he never recorded a second album, or I should say he recorded a second album about 15 times, but never put it out. And since I played with him, I got to learn a lot of the songs that were unreleased. And he had told me that I could put one on an album, and so I put this one on an album, on my Soul Slide album. It took me about 10 years to get up the guts to put one on, because his chords are what we like to call, guitar players call tendinitis builders. But it doesn't sound that way. It sounds very musical. I like this song a lot. It's called Mockingbird Blues. Shake off your lonesome, take off your shoes, Daddy's gonna sing the Mockingbird Blues. Just climb up here in this chair and sit down on my knee, and I'll sing you the story with the sad melody. The sun's on the tin roof, and the clouds bring no rain. Down in a cornfield, you could hear him complain. It's 29 a calling me like it sure is a sin. The way that bird just carries on about his fair weather friend. Some days the clouds lose their lightning. Some days the long shadows fall. Deep back in the pine, back by the property line, you could hear that mockingbird call, call. Now the blue jay will tell you, Lord, it surely will, that the song of the mockingbird not like a sweet whippoorwill. Now his gossip will rise up like the chaff a lion can, wash over levee and cover the land. Some days the clouds lose their lightning. Some days the long shadows fall. Deep back in the pine, back by the property line, you could hear that mockingbird call, call. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Will's write some cool tunes. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, he writes some really great songs. Some people know Willis from, he wrote, he and his wife, Allison, with Lyle Lovett, wrote that song. That's right. You're not from Texas. Texas wants you anyway. And supposedly, Lyle's girlfriend at the time was walking around like off and on the tour bus going, "Why is everybody always talking about Texas, 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 Texas?" And so they would just peek around a corner and go, "That's right. You're not from Texas, but Texas wants you anyway." And he also wrote the Ballad of Spider John and Painted Lady, and of course, he wrote Muskrat Love. And yeah, that helped. It was originally called Muskrat Candlelight, and for all of you guitar players watching, he uses a lot of weird alternate tunings, and that song is in E minor, major 7 tuning, which is an E minor chord with your high string tuned down to a D sharp. Of course, Willis does not know music theory. He just messed around and turned the knobs until it worked. And I remember having a conversation with him about that. He said, "Do you think it'd be weird if I learned music theory?" I said, "No, it's like learning grammar. Doesn't necessarily mean you have more to say, but it can be helpful. Can't hurt." And then he went, "Nah, I don't want to know." Which I like. I like that about him. Back to the music. Let's see. I'm going to play this new one. I'm going to play another new one. I think I played this once a few weeks ago. I haven't played this out much, so we're going to try it. Another bus rolls by. I wonder who's inside. Are they happy? Are they really free? I write these little songs. Sometimes you sing along. Oh, I'm grateful to have you here with me. And I would not change a thing as long as I can see. When I was a child, I used to dream of flying, flying high above it all. Now I raise my voice above the world and all its noise. I'm flying, I could never fall. And I would not change a thing as long as I can see. My song. and I would not change a thing. Oh, I would not change a thing. Oh, as long as I can see. My song, sing along with me. Yeah. Everybody wants to roll the dice. Everybody wants to take a swing. Don't ask me for my advice. I don't know anything. Everybody's got a story to tell. Everybody's got a song to sing. I thought I knew you well, but I don't know anything. Back when I was young, I swore I thought I knew it all. I never stopped to listen, not until I hit the wall. I feel the tall trees bend, oh, I hear the ocean sing. I see the color of the wind, I don't know anything. Back when I was young, I swore I thought I knew the score. Lately, I've been thinking that I'm not that guy no more. Everybody wants to roll the dice. Everybody wants to take a swing. Don't ask me for my advice. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. And I really don't. Oh, thanks so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Song I wrote here on Vancouver Island. Up on Morton Lake with no guitar and a little too much time on my hands. A little notebook. That's all you need. Chip in a chair, as they say in poker. Who said this? Oh, that makes me so happy. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you so much. I love to hear that. Well, it's like that first song, you know, the new thing that my wrote with my friend Scrappy. Like I said, I think we need a little bit of we need a little pick me up. And people could use some good news here and there, and I am all for that. The problem is, usually when you're happy, you don't want to sit down and write a song about it. It's usually just the opposite. Touché. Ted Cadillac back there on the sound, everybody. Give him a round of applause in front of your screens right now. Remember that the sound person is... That's right. That's right. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. That's how you do it. That's exactly how you do it. Man, I love that we have that bit worked out. That's just so good. If I'm going to tell a joke, I want you to do that at a show. People will be clapping, and then all of a sudden they get confused because then they hear the clapping, and then it just goes. Oh, it's the best. We have that thing now. But your sound person is your and your lighting person, and all these people are the unsung heroes of the show. I've never understood musicians who didn't say thanks, or at least, try to get them a tip or something. Next time you go to a live show, if you love the way it sounds, tip your sound person. It's not out of the realm of possibilities to do such a thing, and it makes you feel good, because basically when you tip someone, a bartender, a waitress, a waiter, what happens is it's the act of giving. And the act of giving releases a little bit of oxytocin into the brain. And so you get this natural high, which is all I'm about these days. And it's kind of a win-win for both you and the person you're giving to. And so you can argue with that if you want. It's just science. And I don't know why people argue with science, but they do sometimes. Anyway, thank you, Lee, for saying that. And I like being there for people. Let's think of something else that's in the vein. I'm trying to do a bunch of stuff that I didn't do last week, but who cares? Let's do this one then. Today is another week, that's right. They say tomorrow never comes, but I'm all right with that too. Here we go. I was doing a workshop on Tuesdays, which I've been doing over on my, the other platform, the Facebook, And someone, a songwriter, said, "What song are you most proud of?" And that's a really tough question. And I definitely never thought of it. And I put it right back at her. I was like, "What's yours?" And she goes, "These Days." And I was like, "Oh, wow, that was really fast." And then I thought about this song, and you really don't know how it's going to hit an audience. You really don't know what they're going to do with it. Once it leaves you, once you put it out there in the universe, so to speak. We are getting metaphysical today, John. Once you put it out there, it's not really yours anymore. And I think if you did know, then it's probably not good work. If you knew exactly what everybody was going to think about it and what they were going to take from it. But this simple song was the first one that popped in my mind when she asked about something I'm proud of. Jimmy fell hard for Jenny. Jamie fell in love with Jay. You can't choose with whom you fall. I think it's better that way. Could be a chemical thing, maybe cosmic and such. Try as you might to clearly define, well, you won't come back with much. Love is love, is love. Love is love, is love. Try to change love. They give conditions and rules. They try to tell you they know better well. Tell you your love ain't cool. Love don't mind your religion. Love don't know about race. Love don't care where you may come from. Love doesn't need to explain. Love is love, is love. Love is love, is love. At least once a show. Ted Cadillac for the reverb. Said it before and I'll say it again. Put it on one song on one album and then you got to bring it out every night for the rest of your life. We are born knowing love, have to be taught how to hate. Let go of all your preconceived notions. Well, you only need to relate. Come take a seat at the table. Break some bread, make a new friend. In time you'll find forgiveness and kindness is all you ever needed. Love is love, is love, is love. Love is love, is love, is love. Love is love, is love. Love is love, is love. And it is. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Now, the smattering. I'm going to pick up my little toy guitar here. I'm fond of. There's a brand new song. If I haven't had a chance to name drop once in this one, so might as well. I'm not above that. I'll do what it takes to get the gig. But thankfully, I got this one without it. I prefer dropping your name. It's gonna get me somewhere around here, brother. That's right. It's really, really cool, though, because I recommend, you know, I've got my little followings in little spots around the U.S. You know, like I said, I'm 47, and I started my solo career at like 43. I'd always been a side person. When you go to new places where no one knows you, and you have to like get an audience to pay attention, it's like a beautiful challenge, you know. And you try and read and get a vibe. And are they here to hear some stuff that's kind of up? And Are they here to kind of get into the pensive stuff? And sometimes you can't read them at all. And sometimes you just have no idea. Sometimes you just nail it and you connect. It reminds me of this really great story. A friend of mine who, I think he was like 38, going on 40, and he relearned how to finger pick. And he had played guitar, but he'd always just kind of beat the soup out of it. But he wanted to be held in esteem of all his favorite songwriters, like people we mentioned earlier, like Guy Clark and Townes Van Zandt and Steve Earle. He wanted to play those stages, so he had a rough period, and as many of us do, and he humbled himself and took some guitar lessons and learned how to finger pick. And his teacher said, "Hey man, I know a place where you can do a gig where nobody really knows you. You can just sit in the back and kind of practice your tunes." And he was like, "Oh man, I don't want to do that, So he finally talks him into it, and he goes and he plays in the back of this Joe's crab shrimp shack kind of place. And he says to me that while he's playing his songs, all he can hear is the sound of peeling shrimp, And he's like, "Why bother?" He's like, "Nobody cares. Nobody cares that you tear off little pieces of your soul to fit the laws of music. Nobody cares." And then all of a sudden, from the back of the room, he just hears this. And he's like, "Man, you know what? If one person gets it tonight, that's enough." And that's how I feel. If one person gets it out there, if Lee gets it out there, then it's cool. And he looks up from his guitar, and he sees a guy in the back with a ketchup bottle going like this. Thank you very much. I'll be here all week. Make sure you try the fish. No, but that's I don't know if that's a true story or not, but I was going to name drop and say that there's a new Ray Wiley Hubbard song, and it's really cool because it has this guitar and my mandolin, and like he did this big label, awesome. Like his first single was just all name drops. It was Ringo Starr on drums, Don Was on bass, Chris Robinson singing backup vocals, and Joe Walsh on guitar. Okay, so that's his first single. The second single is me. And it's me playing mandolin and me playing slide and nobody else. And I was like, well, that's kind of cool, man. It's like they took like this ratty mandolin song. There's a gal named Ashley McBride who sings the duet with him. And of course, Ray's playing guitar and there's bass and drums. So I shouldn't say it's just me, but the lead stuff. And I was really humbled by that because I was like, cool, man. You might have picked a cool major label if they'll put that out as your next single. And that has nothing to do with the next song. I just wanted to show off. Maybe I should do the song that I wrote with Ray, just because I did that. So it actually has some continuity. It doesn't matter. I mean, I didn't play this guitar on that song, but I'll do, Ray and I wrote a song for my last album that I really love. And this is it. I think that'll work. So Ray came in the studio to see this, check out this song that we had written. And I don't know, he maybe wanted to hear how I was doing. Make sure I wasn't messing it up. And he was sitting in the front in the booth with an acoustic guitar and he started playing this thing. It was really cool. It was like this. And I was like, oh man, that has got to go in there. It's so cool. And he's like, all right. So he goes in and he puts his guitar line down and just plays a little acoustic on the track, because we already had the track done. And then I was like, man, you want to sing a little on the choruses with me? And And he was like, yeah, I'm like, okay. So he sings on the chorus. And then I said, hey, man, you want to sing the second verse? He goes, all right. So then it comes out in Rolling Stone Country. This song comes out as one of the top 10 songs released that week, which my publicist used for about 6 months. And it was like Ray Wiley Hubbard, Jeff Plankenhorn sing a duet, which is weird. You know, it came out in Rolling Stone Country. I've never written or, sung a country song in my life. And I don't mean to denigrate anybody who listens to country music. And if you listen to country music, to denigrate means to put down. And they were like, Jeff Plankenhorn, Ray Wiley Hubbard have this duet. And then I'd go out and I'd play this song without him. And then something was missing. It was like trying to play Islands in the Stream without Dolly, I think. Not really sure who I am in that metaphor, but we'll go with Dolly. I want to be Dolly. It's joy and misery every time. It seems you got to prove it. It's like an old cat having kittens. You just crawl under the porch and do it. Spitting out words whole lot faster. You can even write them down. And every time you got to believe it's a sermon on the mount. Tooth and nail, fireball nail. Runaway train in a driving rain. Oh, coming off the rail, tooth and nail. And here comes Ray's verse. It's a raven perched on a windowsill on a cold and stormy day. It's a sign of the times written on a one-string fiddle or a Steinway. It's a mandolin in an angel's hand playing a record 9 to 7. Or a prayer to the gods to send me some lightning from a distant heaven. Tooth and nail, fireball nail, runaway train. It's Rexall Quarter on Saturday night with young Hayes tending bar. It's Baptist church on a Sunday morning with a hungover choir. It's a young girl named Jamie who's a little high-strung, but she got a tattoo on her right arm of the poet who wrote Lungs. Tooth and nail, fireball nail, a runaway train in a pouring rain. Oh, coming off the rail, tooth and nail, tooth and nail, tooth and nail. That's the song, one of the songs I wrote with Ray. We have another song on his next album coming out. A really, really, really cool guy. A song that we co-wrote that he sings with a guy named Shiny Ribs, Kevin Russell. All right, well, I'd say how's everybody doing, but I know. I can't see who came in. How you doing, man? Oh, good, thank you. I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here.
Is that Checo? No, it's Raj. Oh.
Welcome, Raj. What's that? Ah, much obliged. I tell you what, man, this whole pandemic thing has, I hope that one of the takeaways is that people have learned a little bit more about what it means to be essential. And, you know, it's very, very obvious to me how medical professionals who put themselves on the line. I heard a story about all these people and all these cats, you know, myself being from the States, all these Canadian folks that live in Windsor. I've been across that bridge, you know, the Ambassador Bridge and that tunnel many times between Windsor and Detroit. And there's a lot of people in Windsor who work in Detroit. They don't have to go and work at those hospitals, and they do, because they're good people, and they risk themselves for others. And sometimes I wish my country would kind of, what's the word? Reciprocate, maybe? In a nice way, whether it's masks or whatever, grow up a little bit at this point. But then there's also the thing with essential workers being like, maybe now we give our garbage men, or maybe we give our security guards, or maybe we give our people at the grocery store who are bagging our groceries and have to deal with so many people coming in, maybe we give them just a little bit more respect, maybe we give them a little bit more money. Teachers. A lot of people I know who are having to homeschool right now in Texas, whoo, they got a whole new respect for teachers they didn't have. And I think that a teacher that has to spend a lot of time going to school and all that kind of stuff, well, they might want to pay them like a doctor. They might want to pay them. Anyway.
Well, that's the nice thing about this pandemic is that there is no normal anymore.
Right.
The normal we had wasn't working.
No,
I was coming to an end anyway, right? I mean, our town has become quite nice. As it slowly comes back in, it'll find where it settles in. The pace is a lot slower because you just don't push your way in anymore. You stay your 6 foot difference.
I think you're so right,
everyone's doing that.
Everybody has taken it seriously around here and up where I live in Campbell River, and it shows. And, I mean, there's been some bad eggs. It happens anywhere. But, you know, some people who feel like their freedom is being encroached upon or something like that when they're really just, you know, looking out for other people's health. But I'd say pound for pound, it's been very inspiring to see people on different sides of political divides and things like that here in Canada looking out for each other. And I'm sure that that's the case down south, too, in certain places. I wish it were more. Less fragmented, less us and them. But I digress, and now I go into playing a little bit more music. I'm just gonna play. What do you think? Can we do one more? Are we feeling?
I'm into one more.
You're into one more? Well, I'm gonna play this song that we usually play at this thing called the Purgatory Players. It's a gospel brunch, but it's an anybody welcome gospel brunch, and I mean anybody welcome. So much that one time somebody walked in, because we'll play like one person will play a Staple Singers tune, and then somebody will play like a bluegrass tune, and then somebody will play like a Tom Waits tune, and then somebody will play an original. And so somebody walked in one time and they said to the kid behind the bar, they said, "Hey, what kind of music do they play? They sound great." And the kid said, "Oh, they play spiritual music for non-denominational folks," which I thought was about the coolest thing ever. So I wanted to write some music that was spiritual music for non-denominational folks, or any denomination or no denomination, and that's what this song is. Yeah. little Sunday morning to a Wednesday evening right here at the Duncan Showroom. Don't forget to tip if you can. We like the money that jingles, but we love the money that folds. And if you don't have money to give right now, we're just glad that you're watching and enjoying with us. Well, good morning, good people. I know you got troubles. You think you can outrun your fate. Don't be so sure. Take another look. Baby, it's not too late. Now listen, I was beat down. I was so tired. I was longing for the cleaner slate. How was I to know which way to go? Could be the narrow and the straight. Baby, too late. Baby, too late. Well, you've only got your life to contemplate. Baby, it's not too late. Temporary states. Lay one foot down in front of the other, no need to hesitate. Now if you wanna get out of your own way, lend your hand, don't discriminate. Free your mind from the bondage of self, and maybe it's not too late. Baby, too late. Oh, maybe too late. Lay your burden by the river. Such a heavy weight. Baby, it's not too late. Know when I first wrote this song, I used to get this other song stuck in my head, and now I gotta play it every time because it was like, where did that song come from? And I didn't want to steal somebody else's song, but it was always like, it was running through my head every time I played this song out. It was, and it was like, man, I don't know, because you know, it didn't really fit the gospel feel that I was going for, you know. Because you didn't want to get up on Sunday morning and be like, no, that's a bad idea. You don't want to do that on a Sunday morning. That's not a Sunday morning thing. Okay, that's enough of that. Well, it's true sometimes that the second chance that left you stalled at the gate. That's to your best, give it some gas. Maybe it's not too late. Now when you're thinking, it's just stinking, and it's hard to even concentrate. Baby, let go, maybe you'll know that maybe it's not too late. Baby, too late. Maybe too late. Baby, too late, too late, too late. Baby, too late. And at this point on the Sunday morning, everybody starts soul clapping, and everybody starts singing together. And it's kind of a fun thing we all get in on it. And everybody at home right now who's listening and watching online, they can just go like this. Baby, too late, baby, too late. Baby, it's not too late. And then they keep going like, baby, too late, baby, too late. Baby, it's not too late. And the ladies go up high like, baby, too late, baby, too late. Baby, it's not too late. And the men go way down low like, baby, too late, baby, too late. Baby, it's not too late. Not children, maybe too late. Oh, maybe it's not too late. Baby, too late. Maybe too late. Baby, it's not too late. Thank you, Ted Cadillac. Thank you, Longevity John, my brother. Thank you, Raj, for coming on in. Thank you, everybody, for supporting the Duncan Showroom. You will see me again. And I do appreciate you folks very much. And please, please, please give if you can. I'd like to see this venue stay open and prosper. And it means the world to me. So thanks again for having me. Good night, everybody. See you offline. That's a wrap. Tell me if we're off screen, too.
Oh, doctor, you see me. Can